speaker. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Phenomenal. Were it not for the fact that the country is going down the chutes, were it not for the fact that we're going to hit $10 a gallon gas, were it not for the fact that this is all by design, it's a disaster.
You're a defender of freedom and a seeker of truth. Tell us about, is this what you were working on, the $10 gallon gasoline film?
Well, yeah, we're, getting it together tonight. We've got 3 parts. It's going to be in 2 sections with an intermission, sort of like Gone with the Wind, except this is Gone with the Gas. As the price of gas goes up, the dollar goes down. That makes it more difficult to buy gasoline in the future with what you had in the past. And as a consequence, we're taking a look at the trailers, the trucks, the tractors, not being able to get out there and grow the crop, ship the crops, go down the row after row after row, and make this country functional.
Now,
so we can eat. But if we can't eat, we're going to have food riots in major urban areas, in the Black and Chicano areas, in South Central Los Angeles, in Philly, in the south side of Chicago. It's going to happen. It has to happen. There is no way out unless we incite a revelation. So however many people are listening to this show, you've got to do something about it. Yeah, we can't just be spending our time talking. We have to do something. We have to react, because the action is in the reaction.
We're going to have a rebroadcast of this show. We lost about half our listeners waiting up for you, but we're going to do a rebroadcast of this later so that everyone can catch up. But anybody that's listening can join us in the chat room, revolutionbroadcasting.com. Click on the Join the Chat button. And if you have any questions for Anthony J. Hilder, we are doing a live interview. And you can go ahead and PM me. My nickname is Ubi in the chat room. I like your idea of revelation to avoid the revolution. I think that's ultimately the change that we need is going to come through a revealing of the truth. In what?
Well, it's simply a matter of this: you either wake up and discover what's planned for us in the future, or we die in the future taking a look back at what we didn't do in the past.
One of the things that you're helping to be revealed, not just revealing the sources behind these this corruption, this shadow government or evil occult government that wants us dead, wants us controlled, wants to own everything. One of them to help get us through this gas crisis is some technology you're working on.
Well, we've been working, my partner and I have been working on putting together some of the technologies that have been advanced to us in the past that we can utilize in the future. We can change water into hydrogen. I'm developing a thing called the Hildernator. You pour water in it, and hydrogen comes out of it. There's a website that's called Angel's Nest. It's called World Nest. And I'm laying on my back drinking water that's coming out of the tailpipe of an internal combustion engine. This is out in the desert. Oh, and where did the hydrogen come to run the car? From
Water.
The desert, from the water, from the sun, from the wind. The water was collected in a cauldron on top of the roof. And this is a multi-million-dollar house. It holds about 7 inches of water per year in this particular section of Taos, New Mexico. They then use the solar power to convert it and the wind power to convert it into hydrogen. So somebody can drive up with their car, fill up, and drive away, just so long as they're within driving distance of this particular place, World Nest. It's fantastic.
I love it. Of course, this is a big threat to the oil industry, and yeah, our whole economy is kind of tied together with this fiat banking system. Somebody used the term earlier, the banksters, the bank gangsters. I like that one. And
that's a word I created years ago.
You did that came from. They must have used that because I had mentioned you in the chat room.
So the banksters and of course the government gangsters, the Igors, and that's the invisible government obedient robotons, do the dirty work for these modern day Frankensteins. But there is a major difference between the modern day Dr. Frankensteins who perform their experiments and create their monsters from the living. Far different from the legendary Dr. Frankenstein who created his monster and performed his experiments on the dead.
That's a good symbol. I like the symbolism that was put in that story. I think it did have to do with the industrialization of man, and now we're corporatized. But what I was going to say is that this technology that would liberate us from our dependency on oil, which is one of the things that enslaves us, is a threat not only to our economy but to national security in a way.
Well, first of all, you've got to take a look at what we have out there. We have a world that is becoming one. If you take a look at the Olympics had a motto, a theme: one world, one dream. Adolf Hitler came out with a book called The New World Order. Actually, it was called The World Order at that time. But you hear Bush talk about the New World Order. I'm talking about the last president, the father of the current president, on September 11th, 1991.
10 years.
He talked about a new world order. It's ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, and his father, also in the Skull and Bones, he laid nude in the coffin, born again into the satanic order. He was masturbating and was surrounded by 15 men in black robes, putting it all together in their head and listening to this guy, seeing this guy laying nude in the coffin.
Indenturing himself
Senator Prescott Bush
into a brotherhood where he's got allegiances other than the Constitution, upholding the Constitution.
It's called the Brotherhood of Death, Brotherhood of the Bell. Bell or Baal, it was Satan, Lucifer, Baal, the Bell worship. And I talked to Dean Jagger, who was in that movie. He played the head honcho at the Bell, which is the Skull and Bones, and he made threats upon a fellow named the father of Peter Ford, an actor, and a good one, Glenn Ford. I talked to Glenn Ford about this. He didn't seem to know what was going on. He just played the part. I did talk to Dean Jagger for quite a while one afternoon. We had lunch, and I asked him, I said, what do you know about this? He didn't seem to know anything other than the fact that the fellow who had written the script comes from Pacific Palisades, which is not far from here. But let's get down to what really is happening here. We have a satanic Luciferian New World Order. The symbol is all about us. There was a movie, In Plain Sight, Hidden in Plain Sight. It's before our very eyes. If you take a look at the image of Uncle Sam, the goat-like image, it in fact is Uncle Sam is the goat of Baphomet. The goat of Baphomet is the Masonic symbol. In the Masonic religion, General Albert Pike said those in the higher orders should follow the Luciferian doctrine